triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for freedom. Hello, everyone. This is Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo50 Radio. I'm glad that you are joining me and you are going to be part of this program. Listen, there is so much we're going to cover. There's so much we're going to talk about. And today, if you want to, again, remember my website's www.battle4freedom.com. From there, I want you to do me a favor, share it out with as many people as you possibly can. As we get into today's topics, I also want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to Mojo50.com, but we can't do this if we don't do this the right way and getting you to learn about, what is it called? What is the name of that thing? American Pride Roasters coffee. You know what? I can't think of it today because I haven't had any yet. So let's look at American Pride Roasters coffee for a second here. That's it. I've hit the snooze button a dozen times and now I have to finally get going. But I'm not going to do this day right if I don't start it off with a cup of American Pride Roasters coffee, the official coffee of Mojo50 Radio. But I'm not going to lie to you. They have a wide variety of blends, but I'm leaning towards the one that's named after me, Watson's White Chocolate Caramel. You know what? It sounds as good as those words that just rolled off of my mouth. Listen, get it today. AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you, and you want Watson's White Chocolate Caramel blend to start your day off. Join American Pride Roasters Coffee and Mojo50 Radio, and most important, Battle for Freedom, as we celebrate the best coffee in the nation. American Pride Roasters. Yes, and not only American Pride Roasters, I want you to do me a favor. I also want you to just listen to get your mind right for this. You know, I do this early in the morning. I want to make sure I cover New Life Holistic, important. Does your mind seem like it often shuts down before it even starts? Sounds like you need to detox to improve your health in body, mind, and spirit. I'd like to tell you about New Life Holistic. It is an amazing therapy process that uses neurofeedback and biofeedback for many issues that ails everyone. New Life's method and approach to health, balance, energy, and vitality is what sets it apart from anything you have experienced ever before. Call 1-833-4-BIO-LIFE and tell them Watson from Battle for Freedom had sent you. One more thing. Give them the code Mojo50 and save $50 off of your first session. The consult is free. New Life Holistic. Yes, New Life Holistic, and we go from there. Listen, folks, something really interesting is, I don't know how much of you have been paying attention to the painful, I don't know how many of you have been paying attention to the painful hearings that have been going on. You've watched this whole idea of one side is focused on a lot of drama and emotionalism. I kind of talked about this yesterday, and I want to... I didn't get into as much as I really wanted to. I really want to go back and revisit this for a second here. The left, the Democrats, do everything that they can to show pictures. They show pictures of all these people who could be affected by Obamacare being removed. And I'm starting to listen, and this is something I'm going to ask you all to do. And this is something that's really hit me because of the fact that I want you to go back and listen to the hearings. There's an undertow to the desperation of the left that I don't think you fully understand. And this is bigger. I think what's going on here, it's bigger on the nature of why they don't want Amy Coney Barrett as Supreme Court Justice. It's not just even the favorability of having the conservative stacked Supreme Court. I think that there's bigger language here. There's bigger things here that you need to ask, that you need to consider, that might actually be playing a part as to why they don't want it. You know, again, listen to the words. I think I'm going to cover this on Friday, but because I need to do some research on this. If you want to interact, do me a favor, go to facebook.com/Mojo50 Radio. I see that you have Lep, you have Linda in there. Thank you very much for connecting, and share this out with as many people as you possibly can. But there's something that's uniquely different about this that I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, is this the direction I think is going?
A lot of the things that kind of frustrate me is just the level of hypocrisy that we're watching from the left, that they don't want to hold the same standards. Now, again, granted, okay, so what's a couple things that we can kind of talk about that actually is definitely clear on this, on a failed part of the Republican Party in reference to, what do they do here? How have they failed? Why are they being irresponsible in this aspect? Okay, so they set a standard. It wasn't a legal standard, but it was a standard 4 years ago where they didn't want to allow Obama the opportunity to bring in Garrick Marland. Okay, so get over it. Okay, they didn't have it. See, and here's where I want to go with you on this language here. Get over it. Get over your emotions that you didn't get a chance to put your judge in. And here's why. Is because the language when Obamacare was passed, when you had the House, you had the Senate, you had the president, when you had that, the language was basically, get over it, we're in charge. I'm basically going to say the same thing to you as well. For all of you, it doesn't matter how many of Amy Coney Barrett's, constituents basically say, or her peers basically tells her not to take the job. It doesn't matter how much they press out and present to you the idea that that Donald Trump shouldn't be doing this, that they should be focusing on the stimulus. Oh, you can focus on a stimulus package, and you can confirm Amy Coney Barrett at the same time. But you have nothing. You have no tactics. You have nothing left, and everything you're doing is to basically frighten. And here's the thing about it. Y'all keep talking about fear-mongering. The whole premise of you not wanting Amy Coney Barrett as justice, as judge, is because you're using fear-mongering. Oh, well, I mean, seriously. How else do you explain it when you keep showing all these pictures, all these people, they're going to lose their rights. Even now they're saying that they're going to strike down the decision in 2015 of gay marriage. I'm listen, understand this. Come back on Friday because I'm going to unpack this. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Curtis, for joining. Thank you, Sean. Sean Sheeler is part of the wacky crew, the wacky off-track crew on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. called Off Track of Whiskey 6. So you listen. listen, and let your hair down. Let your hair down, or by lack thereof. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. The reason why I'm saying this, it's powerful, because there's more to this than we want to consider. There's more at stake. And see, so this is what I'm going to do, because I wanted to call this Rabbit Trail Tuesday, Wednesdays, or even a SCOTUS Rabbit Trail. But I want you to consider this, and I want you to listen to the language of everything going on here. Good morning, Dawn. Thank you for being part of this. If you listen to the language and you watch what's happening here, there's a high level of desperation that there's a bigger picture. Yeah, I'm going conspiracy theory. If you want me to, you just put your thumbs up on, I will get a voting thing of how many people want me to wear tinfoil on Friday, and I'll put the tinfoil on for you. But there's a language going on here. There's a level of fear mongering. Oh, you can lose your health care. Oh, you won't be able to be married again. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, wait, hold on a second. When you had the control with Barack Obama and the Senate and Congress, you shoved down Obamacare down our throats. There was nothing to be done. Nothing to be done. It was all your power, all your strength. You made it happen. It was a rush. Oh, yeah. Remember? You have to pass it to see what's in it. So what was it, 2,400 pages? That was jammed down the throats of American citizens. And now we are challenging the constitutionality of that law and so much more. Come on, I'm going to be dropping some Easter eggs or however you call it, because I want you to pull out a pad like Amy Coney Barrett, even though she doesn't use hers, and start taking notes, because I want you to research this. I want you to research and think about this. Let's consider the constitutionality of not only Obamacare, but so many other different laws that could be removed if the language continues of what we're hearing right now. Yeah. Think of this and what happens in the efforts of not only Barrett being nominated and confirmed, Trump winning the elections. So much changes. Literally, once Barrett's confirmed, once you have another judge who is originalist. Okay, again, terms I want you to listen to. Terms you are going to do the research. And let's see if we come to the same conclusion. Let's see if we come to the same track this time. Yeah. Raquel Lee says, Raquel Lee, she's part of the Bells of Liberty. And I'm sorry, I did not show me, just put in the show in the timeline so I can get the name right. That's being previewed on Sundays from 12 to 4. She says, remember when Obama said that Republicans needed to sit at the back of the bus? He said that. How about Obama's elections has consequences? See, because of the fact that, again, a lot of you keep talking about this room 13. Thank you. Room 13. Thank you. Holy moly guacamole. I'm too young for this. The idea that election has consequences. Now, everyone is sitting here thinking, that kind of language seems spiteful, right? That language kind of seems haughty, right? That kind of language basically seems like you may just be abusing your powers because you want to flaunt stuff in our face. I mean, that's what Obamacare was about. Make no mistake. Obamacare was the first step into telling people we're going to do whatever we want and we don't care how you feel. We don't care what, we don't care how you operate. Thank you, Obi-Wan. To sit here and watch this thing take place, I'm thinking this is a stroke of genius. Folks, this is bigger than the election. This is bigger than Donald Trump. This is bigger than the Supreme Court. Right now, you need to get out and vote. If I'm understanding, and if my tinfoil proves true on Friday about what the coming tide could bring, if Donald Trump is afforded 2 more picks before 2024, we could see a fundamental transformation of the United States of America at a level you never, ever, ever could imagine. Yes, folks, this is going to be golden and this is going to be juicy. So the Democrats have to do double standards. The Democrats, you see, understand this. The Democrats have to use the double standards to get us all frustrated and get us on rabbit trails of emotion, because remember, they're the ones who are operating in emotion right now. They're the ones who are operating in emotion. They're trying to basically get Amy Coney Barrett to turn around and operate in emotion. Oh, look at this picture. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. But at the end of the day, remember, Amy, because I got a little bit nervous during yesterday where there was a point where she was saying, well, we weigh this against real people, real case scenarios. And honestly, I think there's a danger to that language because of the fact that while I believe that the Constitution protects the rights of every individual, and we have our laws that are created to help the individual, there's always a danger, if you remember, in our Constitution and in our laws, if we're not careful in the language of the literature, that it could basically give the rights of an individual to basically damage the rights of the many, and the other way around. So we actually have to make certain that, I guess that's where you have is it the separation of powers between the states and the federal level? that there are certain laws that should not exist on the federal level because it impedes on the local laws of each state. We may be, if the language works itself correctly, we may be moving ourselves back to the original meaning and context of the Constitution. And if we move ourselves back to the original meaning and context of the Constitution, that means a lot of things have to be stripped. Good morning, Belinda. Thank you for being part of this. Folks, they're stalling. And this is very interesting. Thank you, Christopher Warner, for joining this. He calls me racist. Shaw calls me something racist. Hey, Raquel Lee, she says, the fact that Lois Lerner went after conservative groups and weaponized the weapons to the weaponize. I see. I think someone's using Siri to make her comment. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. Weaponized to the IRS to punish them while the Obama administration didn't punish her in any way is proof that the Obama administration didn't care. Yes. What you mean about rights? Because of the fact that you have to understand this. They are pushing socialism at the highest strength, the highest swell that you can imagine right now. They're not even hiding it any longer. They're not even hiding it any longer. They don't want you to see the failures in Venezuela. They don't want you to see the failures in all the other different countries that have been promoting socialism and have never failed to get it correctly done, because there's this haughty, arrogant attitude that we will do it better. That our government, that we will rise to the occasion. Now, mind you, I want you to hear something in the double standards of the language of what's going on here. They don't want you to basically create laws to tell people what to do with their lives and with their bodies. But what have they been doing for the last 6 months? We have created lockdowns. We've shut down an economy. We've basically shut down businesses. We've shut down communities. We've shut down churches. We have basically handcuffed people that you actually have to wear a mask, even though the better deal would not have been to burden the American people with wearing masks, but in a way, isolate the people who are sick and protect them. Protect them. If you don't recognize the level of power that is being the struggle for power right now, because a conservative court also now gets to, we bring up the constitutionality of mandatory masks. We bring up the constitutionality of the lockdown laws and so much more in the event of having a stacked conservative Supreme Court. This is what we get. And I don't know if you guys are ready for the level of commitments and sacrifices to make certain that we change the direction of what's going on in this country right now. Because there's the Trump train and the socialism train are all both on the same track. Yeah. The more conservative, Sean says, the more conservative the Supreme Court becomes, the further left the liberals will move. Oh, and it's not just left, because there's something more in that. There's something more in that, because in them basically being frightened of the freedoms that we lose if Amy Coney Barrett's nominated and confirmed. Think of the language and listen to the voice here. And this is so simple in this. I keep watching the confirmation hearings, and I'm asking myself this one question. There's this high desperation level. Again, listen to the accusations of the left. Hirono was a disgrace yesterday. Kamala Harris, Hirono, every last one of them. If you listen to the accusations being made, apart from what the president of the United States has made, They have questioned her character. They have questioned her motives. They have questioned what she would do. And I'm sitting here thinking, so the only way you could feel comfortable making that assertion is if you come to the table with that same mentality behind you. I mean, literally, let's listen to this and understand. Literally is a word I say way too much, but forgive me. It is. I've got to work on trying to get that out of. So pray for me that I can get the word literally out of my phraseology. They are sitting here, and I want you to pay attention to how much they talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She made clear her mentality, her directions of what she was going to do when she came to the courts. She made clear the direction that they wanted, and for a paragon for civil rights and women's liberty and all this other different things. That's not the purpose of coming to the courts. The purpose of coming to the courts is to be a responsible jurist, respecting the language and the nature of the Constitution. So this whole idea of them basically being fearing of politics being brought into the Supreme Court is because of the fact that they've brought politics into the Supreme Court. They have been vocal about what they want to do, about taking away the rights of guns. I mean, think of when Amy Coney Barrett is sitting here and having a conversation about the idea of a felon. Now, mind you, and a lot of black people won't hear this. A lot of black people won't hear this. Do you recognize that the judge who is being in the process of being excoriated by the left is basically saying that, you know what, the idea of taking guns away from a person for having a felony on their record we need to revisit that and make certain that the crime matches up, or the penalty matches up with the crimes. And then you don't sit there and you completely destroy what that person goes through. Or do we hold them accountable to that as well? But there's this language where they're trying to do the best that they can to stop people. And they're trying to cripple people, and the language that they're sharing here is they're coming in with their preconceived notions of how they want to rule this country, and they think that it's only Donald Trump who's doing this. We know without the shadow of a doubt, the Second Amendment is destroyed if you have a liberal stacked court. You know this without the shadow of a doubt. So to sit here and think that we don't know and we don't understand what's happening, maybe the people who are indifferent. This is, I remember I had a lot of friends who basically said, well, I don't vote. But they would sit there and complain all day long about things going wrong. I've seen memes out there saying that I think 50 million plus evangelicals chose not to vote in the last election, or just decided not to show up. Do you know how much that means? Even if you get 10 to 20 million evangelicals, and I'm not just talking about evangelicals. Forget it. No, dropping evangelicals. A minute here. Drop the term evangelicals and hear this clearly. I don't care if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, you're a Buddhist, you're an atheist. I mean, I want y'all to know Jesus, really know Jesus, but you need to recognize what freedoms you will lose right now in this election if you decide to vote for Joe Biden. Every one of your fears, every one of your nightmares will come to a reality, and they will continue blaming Donald Trump when it was actually them stripping away your rights. You need to pick up the Constitution. You need to read it, and you need to understand the freedoms that are afforded to you because of the Constitution, not the Supreme Court, not the Senate, not the Congress, not the president. It's time to wake up. I don't care who you are, and start fighting back for your country and start paying attention to the nightmare en route. Listen, I'm your host, Battle4Freedom from Battle4Freedom. Let's go to a break, and I'll talk to you on the flip side.
This election will be vital to the health and sustainability of our country. Our role from this day on could steer the election in either direction. Why? The way we treat one another. In John 13:35, Jesus says, "By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." We know that every election cycle brings out the worst in us. If there was ever a point for honesty, it is in how we act during election season. As much as we would want our candidate to win, attacking a person with contrary opinions only makes them determined to reject our point of view all the more. It may come off as ignorant from them, but we cannot claim innocence if we allow arrogance and disrespect to be the means in which we communicate with those who support the other party or other candidates. Our goal was and will never be to convert voters. Our role is to give them the information needed prior to them casting their vote. It is their choice and right of what they do with that information. Understand, more people are aware of the political corruption and hypocrisy than they wish or want to admit. So there's nothing for us to prove. Choose to be people who invoke change rather than people who irritate and strain. Dale Carnegie once wrote, "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." In other words, give people the room to make their own mistakes. Without seeing that they were wrong, they would be blind to see what is right. Remember, every soldier present and gone have fought for the right of every American citizen to vote their own conscience. To insult and ridicule people for exercising their liberty to vote for their candidate is to also desecrate the efforts, memories, and sacrifices made by our heroes for said liberty. Please, show respect. Our nation depends on it.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio, having a healthy and wonderful discussion with everyone as we sit here. A great discussion, everyone. As we get here talking about the whole idea of the double standards in Cantor and, the stall tactics of hell, of what's happening and the nature of what we are watching in this week. Folks, this is bigger than anything you can ever imagine. And you want to talk about bigger than anything you can imagine. I want you to consider cat coolers.
When the world is going to hell in a handbasket, you need rugged. You need strong. You need durable. You need cat coolers. These are the best coolers on the market in 27, 55, and 88 quart. Go to catcoolers.com and give them the code Watson to save 10% on your purchase. Don't settle for those substandard containers that melt, leak, and destroy your memorable moments. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. Cat coolers.
Yes, and not only cat coolers, I want you to also consider getting your energy needs met, and that is with...
Are your energy bills getting out of hand and you want more control of your expenses? Consider Patriot Energy, a local veteran-owned solar company. You need honesty, integrity, and clarity. These markers are essential in the ever-growing solar industry. Call 602-721-6717 for a free quote. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you, and he's from Mojo5 Radio. And that number again, 602-721-6717. Call Patriot Energy today.
Call Patriot Energy today. And as we sit here, and again, we have this whole week of just watching things happen before us, legalese, all the terms and everything like that's going on here. I want you to consider uscca.com/Mojo50. Mojo50. This is, well, remember, when I say O at the end, it's a 0. Go to uscca.com/Mojo50 and save yourself of the legal challenges and battles that affect you. This is one of our great sponsors of Mojo5 Radio, and we appreciate them connecting you to a legal nightmare-free life. Check them out and tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio sent you. The double standards. Let me go into a couple of memes that I had put together yesterday that just really kind of made me mad. I was sitting here looking and I was laughing at, Kamala Harris, Kamala, or some other things that other people on this network have said that I have no ability or time to repeat because this would be off track. Social distancing when it counts. So Kamala Harris, she was like, we need to separate ourselves. We are scaring everybody because of not having ourselves quarantined and tested to make sure that everything matters. So, but not even a month ago, you're out rubbing shoulders with people in Philadelphia, Kamala. So if the idea of you protecting lives, look at these minority women, that you are compromising their safety. If you really were concerned, we'd see consistency in your behaviors. And not only that, this woman had, what's the phrase? The unmitigated gall. 1 week ago, Kamala Harris refused to answer in a debate if she and Joe Biden would stack the courts. Today, well, this was yesterday, October 13th of 2020, she had the nerve to insult Supreme Court Justice nominee Amy Coney Barrett for not answering questions of potential cases to approach the Supreme Court in the event or case that she would be confirmed. See, this is how you've got to love this stuff here, when you can create a standard and basically say that I want to hold people to a standard, but not live by that standard. It is called hypocrisy. The idea, and I sit here laughing at the hypocrisy of the left, and everybody right there, oh, why are we so busy wanting to rush in a Supreme Court Justice nominee? Hey, why were you in a rush to impeach the president of the United States of America? Oh, and a lot of you who are angry that Donald Trump is going forward with the nomination process and the Senate's going forward with the nomination process are the same people who wanted Donald Trump impeached last year. But you didn't want to rush. But no. They were in such a rush to impeach him just to have impeach on his record. You know what? Here's the funny thing about it. I don't know if you remember the story of Joseph and his brothers threw him in a cistern, and because of the fact that they were jealous about the love that their father had given him, and ended up that you saw the situation where they not only did they have that situation where he was then sold into slavery, and then he went through so many different evil things. But when he finally came back to meet his brothers, and they were fearful of him because they understood what they did was wrong, he said, you know what? It's okay. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. See, you hear me often say everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. We have the freedom and we have the right to do whatever it is that we want. But we're not free from the consequences of this. Many of us do not recognize how badly this can affect you if you do not reconsider your actions. I have to on a daily basis. I have to, because of the fact that it just doesn't affect me. My poor decisions don't affect me. It affects my wife. It affects my kids. It affects my community. My bad decisions also affect the body of Christ because I'm an ambassador for Christ. So I'm not like the judge. She says that in her position as a jurist, as a judge, she's not afforded to make as many comments as she wants publicly because of her position. I think there are certain things that I can't, there are many things I just can't do any longer because of my position as a Christian. And I really wish that this standard that the left was pushing up to try and say that we want to live by this, they would actually follow through and stop stalling. Be consistent in your indignation. Be consistent in what you're saying, and stop wasting the time of the American people. Y'all rushed through an impeachment process. Y'all rushed through constant investigations. And honestly, to tell you the truth, do you recognize that when Nancy Pelosi last week started talking about the language of the 25th Amendment. Now, they're pushing this for Joe Biden, but you do recognize, because of the inconsistent attacks on the President of the United States of America, there was no way that people could not think that this would be going against Donald Trump. Because of the consistent attacks against the President of the United States, because they felt so comfortable in constantly railing accusations against the President of the United States of America, Americans got tired. And now language is coming out that we're going to remove you from the House because there's a level of instability that's going on here. Remember the double standards. I'm sitting here looking at, there was this one really good meme that someone was complaining about Donald Trump, or I forgot who it was, but they said you would think that he was maskless in a hair salon. See, make no mistake, there's no way that you get around the hypocrisy of the left of not doing what they told the rest of us to do. Feinstein coming off of a plane in an airport without her mask. Nancy Pelosi without her mask. Mary Lightfoot getting her hair done. Everyone doing things in salons and businesses that were supposed to be closed. The double standards are here. But instead of you guys looking at their double standards, you're sacrificing your integrity to basically continue going after Donald Trump, and you're not showing any anger or frustration or disappointment or even rejection of the hypocrisy from the left. Understand that this y'all keep stalling, and it's going to come back and it's going to burn you. I see there's another person in the timeline here you need to know. This is Peter Seraphin. He is one of our warriors on the weekend as well, too. You need to catch him on Saturday. This network keeps growing and just has beautiful voices. On Saturday, I'm just going to go off of memory, but the best way you can do this is Mojo50, mojo50.com/schedule. But on Saturday, I see Mighty Oaks. I see, Mighty Oaks, Patrick Oney, Defending Dewey with Jason Gouffre, Peter Seraphin. You have Matt Holloway. There's so many more. Don't ask me to do this from memory. I'm not having a Biden moment, and I'm not just. This is not forgetfulness. It's just I can't memorize it all because I'm balancing so many more different things you need to hear. I already told you that Off Track with Whiskey Six with Whiskey Six. That's just a tongue twister. Off Track, Sunday 8 p.m. You also have on Sunday morning, you have Doug Ramsey. And there is someone new showing up on Sundays, and I can't remember the name of it. I will have this for you tomorrow. Forgive me, because I don't remember everything. That's why you just need to, honestly, the best way you could do this to know who are the talent who's on Mojo50 Radio, you need to go to mojo50.com, and you need to just sign up. They won't spam you. They'll just let you know when new people are on the pike and new content that you can listen and you can appreciate. Peter Seraphin was just basically saying the way, the fight is why I write my book. I wrote my book and started my show, my sense of duty and to defend the Constitution. This is interesting. Chris Werner says that roughly 43% of eligible voters didn't bother filling out a ballot in 2016. Wow. That's scary. And even to sum it up, Brian Keith basically says he basically redefines and shortens my or simplifies my show title by saying best motto of Dems is do as I say, not as I do. Raybo on Sunday mornings. Thank you. It's Raybo. Her show is called Sunday Morning Long Live Show. Long Live Show, or a mix of music and news. See, this is the reason why you also join Mojo50 Radio, because you'll get help from the host to fill in when you can't remember the things that are important to communicate to everybody else. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm mentally exhausted from watching the nomination hearings, but at the same time too, you can't. There's times where we disconnect from the world, we disconnect from the news, we disconnect from all that other stuff because you want to make sure, one, I need to make sure that my time with God is there's more quality in my time with God, despite there might be more quantity in my time with other things in life. So this is the only way I can stay centered. I can be grounded and be prepared to launch into whatever comes forward as a result of the nightmare and of the drama and all the insanity. One of the things that was really interesting is that I saw in the news this morning, and I was laughing at this, is Nancy Pelosi is unraveling during a CNN interview after being asked why she is holding up Trump's $1.8 trillion COVID relief bill. She's having a meltdown. and I know it was maybe just some political move, whatever, but the idea of removing Nancy Pelosi, I think this needs to happen sooner than ever, because the fact that there's a lot of instabilities from Nancy that I don't think that we want to have that be a part of the fear. Listen, folks, the idea and concept of Nancy Pelosi being president of the United States of America, it's just, that's scary. No, thank you. I don't even want to consider that. I don't want my mind to go down. Understand that there's an unraveling. And okay, so we're seeing the unraveling at the top because of double standards. And I want you guys to understand, I want us all to understand something here. It's happening at the top, but it's been happening at the bottom for a long time. And I don't want us to get uncomfortable or get too comfortable with thinking that God is not going to hold us accountable for our actions. Oh, and it's pronounced Rhea, not Rhea. Rhea. Thank you. Much appreciated for the and the off-track syndicate. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it takes time for me to get all these show names together. But like Raquel Lee said on Facebook chat room, is that you just basically have to go to Off Track. I mean, you have to go to Off Track. You have to go to mojo50.com/schedule, and to make things a whole lot easier for you to understand. I say this on the whole idea of the double standards. Folks, we all have to be careful because of the fact that we keep thinking, and because of our partisanship, we want the other side to lose, right? We want the other side to be defeated, embarrassed, and everything else. It's just the nature we have because we're so combative and we want to win, right? Win at all costs. But you have to understand that you reap what you sow. The seeds of discord, the seeds of destruction that you sow will come back and visit you. Instead of wanting people to be destroyed, I think we need to really be praying that people come to have their Jesus moment and realize maybe our worldview weren't as solidified as we believed it to be. Maybe what we brought to the table, maybe our preconceptions need to be reevaluated. See, there are double standards being executed right now by people on the national stage. Okay, let me correct that. By people, not just the left, by people on the national stage. I can't let go of the idea that Jerry Falwell Jr. was just busted months ago. It's just maybe not even a couple months ago. Not just him, not just what we see in the political arena, but we see in so many other different avenues of people being busted for their hypocrisies. We have to be very careful that we don't celebrate too much on the fall of another individual. Because if we celebrate and hope that their fall is hard, our fall, our failure will be much, more devastating. We can't celebrate in the defeat. I know it's so difficult. How do you do this? How do you it's celebrating the victory, but remembering to have mercy. My wife and I are watching Cobra Kai we're watching Cobra Kai on Netflix, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the writing is genius. The writing is genius. The way that they have spun this stuff. We're halfway through the second, we're halfway through the second season, and the dynamics of everything that they're putting in this movie, in this TV series, is perfect. It is great because of the fact that what we're so accustomed to seeing, what we're so accustomed to anticipating, how the story will move, this breaks the barrier. This completely shatters your understanding of which direction that this should go. And no, Raquel, I did not have too much, or I do not need any more coffee right now because I'll be talking at 1,500 words a second. But we're watching the uniqueness of what we're seeing in Cobra Kai. It take the time to watch the character development. And as I sit here, I'm actually watching this, and I'm trying to do the best that I can to even watch the character development, of people in my life, people on the national stage. And many of us are making decisions because of preconceived ideas and notions that we have for people. Yes, I know I try the best I can not to say left, right, Democrat, conservative, Republican, conservative, or liberal. I try to do the best that I can, but I've been seeing too much instability. I'm not saying that there isn't instability in the conservative movement. I'm not saying that there aren't inconsistencies and hypocrisies in the Republican Party. I'm watching things unfold. And I think because of the fact that we keep going with the us versus them mentality, God is basically trying to show us, it's in all of y'all. All of you people are jacked up. All of you people need help. All of us are sinners. The better way isn't via the party. The better way is via God. See, and I think that's the problem. What we've done is our standards. We've removed the God factor, and there are a lot of conservative movements. There are a lot of things trying to be exposed right now. There's a lot of energy to try and free this country right now, and it's without God. I mean, literally, I said the word again. Ask yourself the different movements, the different efforts that are taking place in this country right now to free Americans. Where's the God component? Where's the component where we bow the knee to God and we're praying, Lord, help us, guide us, direct us, and make sure that your name is glorified in the midst of this? Or is the movement basically saying, hey, look at me, look at us, it's all about us? No. Freedom is about looking at God, not looking at us. And because you remember, I've heard this. Oh, well, the Republican Party is a party for God, and the Democrats reject God. Yes, has the Democrat Party openly rejected God on many occasions? Yes, they have. Is the Democrat Party supporting the life of the idea of killing people, killing innocent people in the womb? Yes, they are. But make no mistake, the idea of killing people in the womb is not as bad, is just as equally guilty before God as adultery, as coveting, theft, lying. Yes, I want to defend the life in the womb, but I also want to speak out against what takes the lives, the murder, but I also want to speak out against the lies, the adultery, the lusting, everything that we do that's equally offensive to God. That's where we need to be careful, because we're eager to point out the inconsistencies. We're eager to point out the double standards that the left has done. When will we point out ours? When will we point out ours? We just got to be careful with this. I want us to have standards. I want us to have standards. And I want us to celebrate in the victories that God will provide us. But I also want to make sure that we don't compromise our character in the event of trying to look really good. Lord help us, because this has to change, and this has to change pretty quickly. It's interesting because this, in a way, these hearings, who it helps, and this is the reason why they keep stalling, because there's no way to ignore the information now coming out against Hunter Biden. And they're going to do everything that they can to make everybody live in fear about what Amy Coney Barrett is doing, so you're not paying attention to the revelations of what happened with Hunter Biden. Here it is. Here it is. You have a presidential candidate whose son received money and funds and has ties to Russia, China, the Ukraine, and so much more, and even human trafficking. Why isn't this national news? It's not national news because we are focusing, sleight of hand, remember, sleight of hand, and we are distracted. And I'm asking you, it's time to start looking deeper. It's time to stop being distracted and focus on what matters most. Hunter Biden's son, there's no way of getting around what Hunter Biden did, what Hunter Biden did. He's going to be exposed more than you ever can imagine. And all the people who wanted to be silent about what he was doing, God's basically saying, you know what? I'm done with you. And it's time to shut you down. It's time to shut you down. I'm as I'm watching this thing unfold, as I'm watching this thing happen before, I am blown away by how many people aren't wanting to pay attention to the facts. Let's get some funny stuff going on here, because I saw this yesterday. Because again, distractions, right? So I'll give you a little squirrel here because this was hilarious to me. I'm so happy with what Colin Kaepernick has done with his stupidity. And then, LeBron James trying to be on the scene. I saw this yesterday, and this was really funny. It says, hey, look, he won the NBA Finals. See, nobody cares. Newman from Jurassic Park team. This is probably one of the funniest memes I've seen out there, and it was pretty stinking hilarious. I'm sorry, I was a little bit too serious there, and I had to go back to something that was hilarious to just get me away from the anger and the frustration. Yeah, I sit here. It was something that Dan Bongino posted yesterday. I was very intrigued by this, and I want to research this. Dan Bongino basically posted yesterday, in the Florida rally, 16% of the attendees were Democrats. 16% of the attendees at a Donald Trump rally were Democrats. 24% didn't vote in 2016. 24% of them didn't vote in 2016. Right now, at this particular level, I think there could be an awakening happening. I could be wrong on this thing, so I'm not going to make any prophecies. But I was almost certain that Donald Trump was going to lose, and I'm not going to give him the victory. I don't want to be that arrogant to give him the victory, because it doesn't happen if people don't decide to get out and vote. Now, here's one thing I will say that I am kind of bothered about. Joe Jorgensen is a third-party candidate. And everybody says, well, don't waste your vote. Don't waste your vote. I'm disgusted with the double standards of both sides, because they've done their best to shut Joe Jorgensen out of any debates and out of any conversation, out of any airtime where all three could be in the same position, in the same place. Does it have to be Donald Trump who puts another person on the Supreme Court? Here's a chance that, and I don't want Joe Jorgensen because she'll be the first female president. I'm just saying, why don't you give Joe Jorgensen an opportunity? And as we continue to allow ourselves to be these double standards of wanting America to move forward and moving forward in the right direction, we can't do this right if we keep shutting down the voices while clamoring we want freedom for everybody else. Because Jo Jorgensen is on 50 ballots. She's on 50 states. She deserves the right to be heard. And if we keep allowing politics to ruin the process of our country and the Constitution, we deal with the consequences. Don't yell about what the left is doing if the right's doing the same thing too. Listen, folks, I'm your host, Watson from Battle4Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio. Brad Stacks' Daily Mojo's up next, and I'm out.